This is Lived In, the interior design podcast for ordinary people living in ordinary homes. This season is called Voice Notes, an audio newsletter covering art, architecture, and one good piece of interior design advice. Let's get into it. Hello. Happy Monday, friends. I hope that you all had a great weekend. If you are in Pitt County, like myself, you recently had spring break, if you are a parent, that is. I love spring break because the mornings are slower and we get to do all these fun things with our kids, and simultaneously every time I forget, which is so funny, but I forget that at the end of spring break, our house is a mess and my schedule is all out of whack, my routines are all out of whack, and I long for the kids to be back to school so that we can get back to routine and a house that is just way more organized. So I am relieved that spring break is done, while simultaneously I had a wonderful time. Wonderful time. If you are looking for things to do with your kids local-ish to the Pitt County, Greenville area, then DM me on socials and I'll let you know what we did. We had a fun week. Anyway, we are now talking about art, and I have absolutely no specific insight to share about the art that I'm sharing this week, beyond the fact that I just love the colours. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think actually when you are stuck for inspiration in a room, having a piece of art as a jumping off point is really good. The colours in the painting this week are yellow and two different browns, and that's basically it. But they go really well together, and that's why this is a fun exercise, because I think typically we think, what colour should I paint the room? Should I do it white? Should I do it grey? We don't think yellow or brown. But I think when you look at something like this, you can start to think beyond those immediate paint colours, and even not just paint colours, but colours for furnishings and decor. So it's beautiful. It's very simple. It's called Roses for Penny Sage, and it's by Brianna Jameson. It's linked in the show notes, so you can just click it and view it. But it's a beautiful piece. And again, a great jumping off point. That's it. That's literally all I have about art. So, on to real estate for this week. And I love this house. It's probably one of the more modern ones I've featured in recent times, in the last couple of weeks. It's not modern. It was built in 1994. So that's 30 years ago. But it is modern compared to, 1920, 1950s, 1880s, that kind of thing. The address is 1946 Wexford Lane. It's a Greenville zip code 27858, and it is listed for $479,900. And I would move into this house. So it is a sprawling, and it is sprawling. It kind of just spreads out. Even the shape of it is kind of funky. It's a sprawling 1994 built ranch style home, so all one level, situated on 1 acre, and it's in the Wexford neighbourhood, which if you're familiar with Greenville, you'll know where that is. If you're not, you won't. It won't mean anything to you. But outside, the house features a detached workshop, stuff of my husband's dreams. It also has a custom built wraparound deck, and I say wraparound loosely because it's not a wraparound in that it literally wraps around every section of this funky shaped house, but it's in multiple places. It has a screened porch, it has an outdoor kitchen, and really nice elevated, but it's very simple landscaping. And then inside is where the house kind of makes me fall in love even more. It has a narrow entry, which is funny because it's so wide as a house. But that narrow entry opens up into this really spacious combined kitchen and living room area. Has these stunning cherry wood floors, which flow throughout all the living areas and the powder bathroom, which a powder bathroom is always helpful. Love those. There is custom cabinetry in the kitchen. It's such nice cabinetry, guys. It's so simple, but so nice. I think you you underestimate the value and the beauty of those things when you don't know, when you're just used to seeing the same old shaker style cabinetry everywhere. Anyway, beautiful custom cabinetry, granite countertops, artisanal stonework. The stonework, I will admit, is not my style, but I could move in and live with that for a good long while and not be stressed about it. And the kitchen is large. It also has a really large pantry. Pantry dreams for me. Not the kind that you can work in and cook, that kind of thing. It's not a separate prep kitchen, but it's a really nice pantry nonetheless. In the living room area, there are custom bookcases on either side of a stone fireplace. And there's also a cherry red dining room, which is a choice. I would probably paint that, I'll admit. But there's enough room to comfortably seat 10 to 12 people in there, which is nice. And there are doors opening back up to that custom deck. The bedrooms are spacious. The bathrooms are unique. And every single additional room, including the bonus room that's kind of been used as a gym cum office, and the laundry room, each room has this distinct feeling of intention and care and great character going into it. You can tell this was a custom built home just by the way it looks. So anyway, hit the link in the show notes to see more images and to read the full listing description. Or if you would like to buy it for me, let me know. I'm open to that. Okay, the room study this week is called Breathing Bathrooms. And before I get into it, I have to just let you know, I will be so glad to not talk about a bathroom again for a really long time after this. A really, really, really long time. And if you are new to the podcast or the newsletter, that's because I'm in the middle of my own renovation. I shouldn't say in the middle. I think we're actually really close to the end. But we basically had to redo our entire upstairs bathroom except for the bathtub. And I am just so tired of making decisions and checking in. And I mentioned it, I think, in this week's newsletter, last week's newsletter, that it's one thing when you have clients, but it's another thing when you're the client and your husband and children are the clients. Because there are so many points I've come to and I've been very decided. And then I've looked at my husband and he's been like, no, I don't really like that. There have been a lot of successes too. But because of all the kind of back and forth, we've changed things and ummed and ahed over things. I'm happy with how things are going, the direction things are moving in. But gosh, it's exhausting. But now all of my Pinterest is just bathrooms and I can't stop talking about them, even though I don't want to anymore. I'm done. I don't want to talk about them anymore, guys. Anyway, the beautiful bathroom this week is a primary ensuite bathroom by Sophie Rowell. So she's the founder of Côte de Folk in the UK. And you'll have to click and look at the image in the newsletter. It's beautiful, but extremely simple. And out of frame is a shower, which is really nice. So it's very simple, again, very unfussy. And I'm going to explain to you why it works. So the first one is that it mixes genres. So it has a classical tile flooring, basket weave. Then it kind of has Art Deco and arts and crafts elements, the mirror and the sink. And then it even has a subtle nautical element, which is the sconce that is to the left of the mirror. I love this mirror, by the way. This is the kind of thing I was hoping to do in our bathroom. A mirror that's not a metal and that is kind of an art piece in and of itself. And my husband said no. So we went in a different direction. Anyway, it mixes genres and it does it really, really well. Number two is that it uses asymmetry. So I mentioned that the sconce is to the left of the mirror. There's only one sconce. There are not two sconces. And it's not an unintentional asymmetry. Remember that intentional white space directs your focus and leaves room for your eyes to settle calmly in the space. When you look at it, it doesn't feel like anything is missing because it wasn't accidental. It feels calm, and even though the mirror dominates that area above the sink, it isn't too heavy a visual because of the space around it. So that's really helpful. The last one is that it breathes, hence the title, Breathing Bathrooms. When you look at the image, you're going to notice that the sink is not wedged right up next to the wall. The small mirror is suspended above the faucet. It's not right behind it. There is a lot of wall space above the mirror and below the sink. So it literally breathes because there is room around it. When things are confined or wedged up against each other, they feel confined, and you don't want that feeling. So release yourself from the pressure of feeling that you have to do a typical size mirror or a typical vanity. Play with scale and play with size, and give space where it's needed to achieve this look. All right. The thing that I'm kind of driving at, the main point I'm driving at in last week's newsletter, is that you shouldn't be chasing difference in order to make a point. And this is something I've been thinking about for a while, because I think there's so much chatter about, houses being replicas and looking identical, that we kind of overcorrect and instead start chasing difference and start chasing uniqueness. And I don't think that that's right either. Your home doesn't need to stand out, but it should be unique, not because you're chasing uniqueness or difference, but because it feels and looks like you, and you are unique. And so therefore it will and should be. But when you chase difference for the sake of being different, let's just do something in here to be a bit different, that feels disingenuous and showy rather than authentic. So what do you do instead? Instead of seeking to impress by standing out or seeking to be different, focus on the things, the places, the memories that matter the most to you. Finding ways to tell those stories through the materials and items in your home will make your home unique in a way that is authentic instead of try hard. So I talked about this a bit in the newsletter that's talking about renovation, that in our upstairs bathroom, I wanted to respect our house. And that is something I think I've done well in every bathroom. We have 2 other bathrooms in our home. So in the other 2 bathrooms, I feel like we've done that really well. In our dining room, in our living room, we have respected the house we have. In our kitchen, we've done the same thing. And in the bathroom, I want to respect that the house is largely some amalgamation of traditional and contemporary design. But I also want it to feel like me. And if I lean directly into the traditional classic aesthetic, it doesn't feel like me. And so I really wanted a fun mirror. And we do have a fun mirror. It's not the fun mirror that Cote de Folk has. It's not a wooden mirror in a fun shape. But we're doing something that is a little bit unexpected. And we're not doing that in order to be unexpected. We're doing that because it feels disingenuous to us to not have something that is a bit outside of the norm. That is a really strange sentence, but that's what I mean. The image that I used for this last section in the newsletter is a kitchen in a project by Field Day Studio in Clapton in the UK. And it's using open shelving to display collected pottery. It has a custom wood island, which the family can all sit around. And it mentioned in the write-up, I think it was from Remodelista, that the family loves to connect with each other over meals. And so this custom island was a huge reason for that. And so even in here, they have a shelf to display collected pottery. They have a kind of curiosity cabinet that is countertop mounted, and then they have this island. But this feels very much like someone specific's home. Does that make sense? It doesn't feel like they were trying to do something fun or cool. It feels like they were trying to make something that felt like them. And that's the goal that you're striving for in your home. All right, friends, that's it for this week's episode. There will be an episode next Monday. There will not be an episode the following Monday. So just stay tuned. check your emails, check on socials, and I will be back the following Monday. So that's because that's Easter Monday, and I will not be recording on Easter Monday. I will be taking Easter Monday off, for real. Same with Good Friday. I will take that off as well and just hang out with my family. So I will see you next Monday, but the following Monday, there will not be a podcast episode. Have a great week, and I will see you in 7 days' time.